Well, this morning we're out at Mrs. Palmer's Point Garden. This was the very last garden that she created here at what's now historic Spanish Point. And we just discovered this about a year ago in clearing exotic vegetation from the very tip of the point that is what Spanish Point is named for. And so here we are today, and you can see Mrs. Palmer's pathways gently and winding through the woods here. And we have these round areas that we think were planters built into the edge of the walkway. And this is all the same type of concrete that we see here from about the 1912 through 1915 era. And so again, we understand now that she was creating this in 1918, and she never completed it because unfortunately she passed away before she could finish the Point Garden. So now we've moved a little bit further into the garden, and you can see these large foundation stones. And it almost seems like there may have been, or maybe the plan was, to have some sort of a grand entrance here. Maybe columns going up and something across the top. We don't know because we don't have any photographs of what might have been built here in 1918. But you can see more of the round planters, and you can see more of the edging. And then at this point, we enter an area where the garden was disturbed after she passed away. And then further on the point, the trail picks up again, and it goes out and terminates at this huge concrete urn that's about 6 feet in diameter that right now is leaning over on its side. Now we're a little further down the garden trail, and you can see this collection of the round concrete pots. And you can also see a square area with another square area in the middle. So these are concrete curbings that must have defined planting areas at this portion of the garden. And then we're moving further and further out the point toward the tip of the point, which of course goes out to the west, Little Sarasota Bay, Casey Key, and Siesta Key in the distance. And way out through the woods here, the trail continues, and that's where it terminates with the big concrete urn. Here in the garden, we also have something that might date from prior to Mrs. Palmer's era. These are fence posts that are cut at the top, and they're just like other posts that we have throughout the site that are actually from the John Webb era, beginning back in the 1860s. And so these posts are likely made out of red cedar, and so they've survived all these years without rotting. And you can see down at the bottom how it's just had a little bit of rot, but the rest of it is still standing. And then there's one over there that's fallen over, and there's a couple more over there. And so it seems like there was some sort of fencing. Maybe it was along the edge of the ridge of the shell here to keep people up in this part of the garden, or maybe this dates back much, much further to the Webb era. Along the same lines, perhaps there was a trail here years ago where the occupants of the Webb's Winter Resort would walk on out to the point. But this is all stuff that we're discovering now.